What is up, ladies and gents? It's your boy Jermaine Events, man on MMA. Today we're going to look at this video from our boys over at MMA Friction. They're talking about Jamahal versus Jiri Prochazka. I've seen a lot of people call this some crazy names, like the battle of the words we're not allowed to say anymore, the R word, battle of the R words. All right, we're not allowed to say those words anymore. People are calling this. I mean, these guys, they throw defense and caution to the wind. They don't care about defense. They just come forward, ladies and gentlemen. And they both are arguing right now over who got their ass whooped less by Alex Pereira. It's pretty crazy. This argument is crazy. Nah, you got your ass beat faster. He felt fear for me. And he's like, nah, he knocked you out real quick, and he really had to, like, bro, you both got knocked out. Let's be real here. Let's be real here. What are we talking about? This argument is crazy. All right, y'all should just talk about who's the better fighter, like not about who got their ass whooped less by the champion. Let's get off that topic here. But let's check out this video from MMA Friction. As I said, the hard truth about Jamahal versus Jiri Prochazka, ladies and gents.
Jamahal is finally happening at UFC 311 this January, and this fight feels like it's been years in the making. These two have had crazy careers leading up to this moment, with both holding the light heavyweight titles at different times, but injuries and chaos in the division kept them apart until now. Now, if you guys remember, Jiri became champ by beating Glover Teixeira in one of the most wildest fights I've ever seen in 2022. It was an all-time classic. They were supposed to run it back, but
that was definitely a hood classic. Jiri versus Glover was definitely a hood classic. They needed to run that back. We never got that fight. There is talks Glover's going to come out of retirement at like 45. How old is my nigga? It's like 45 years old. But that was definitely a hood classic. Let's be real here.
Jiri suffered one of the worst shoulder injuries in UFC history, forcing him to vacate the belt. This injury completely shook up the division. The UFC tried to crown a new champion with Magomed Ankalaev versus Jan Blachowicz, but
shout out to Bedtime MMA.
that fight ended in a draw. Dana White was furious, and then he decided to book Jamahal versus Glover for the belt. Hill stepped up big time and dominated Glover to become the champ at UFC 283. At that point, it seemed like we were finally going to get Jiri versus Hill. But then, sadly, Hill tore his Achilles, another brutal injury, and he had to vacate the title. The belt ended up on the line between Alex Pereira and Jiri Prochazka at UFC.
I feel like I could tell by the quality of the images. This video is not a pro Jamahal video. I think that's what I can tell, ladies and gents. Let's see.
295. Alex won and became the new champion.
Let's be honest. I'm the only person that makes pro Jamahal videos other than Jamahal. Let's be real.
But everyone was still waiting for the original matchup, which was Jiri versus Hill. Now, here we are. Both fighters are healthy, and this is official. It's a huge deal for the 205-pound division. Jiri brings that wild, unpredictable style, while Hill is all about technique and power. Both are finishers, so don't expect this one to go to the judges. Now, this fight is massive for both guys because neither one can really afford to take an L. Jiri's coming off a tough loss where Alex Pereira completely outclassed him, and it was a rough one to watch. After that, Jiri was even talking about dropping down to the middleweight division, which shows you just how shaken he might have been, because his crazy, unpredictable style worked against most people in the division, but Alex was just too sharp. Jiri needs this win to remind everyone and himself that he's still a top dog.
That Roy Jones moment.
Who's in a similar spot. His knockout loss at UFC 300 wasn't great, and since then, he's been all over social media going back and forth with the fans, which hasn't exactly helped his case.
This is not a pro Jamahal video. I'm calling it.
And if he loses this fight, the internet's going to blow up with people calling him overrated, and knowing Jamahal, he'll probably argue with everyone and maybe even throw out some excuses. It might be entertaining, but it won't help his image. All right, but let's be real. I've got to say, I think Jamahal takes this one. Now, don't get me wrong. This is going to be an absolute war. I see it going for multiple
So that's
rounds.
interesting. He picked Jamahal Hill at the end of the day. That is interesting.
And if I'm not mistaken, it should be a 5-round fight. That said, this fight really shouldn't come as a shock. A lot of people were already picking Jamahal Hill as the guy to beat Jiri not too long ago, and now he's got the chance to prove it. And look, man, Jamahal Hill's style is all about staying disciplined and sticking to the basics, which gave him a big advantage over Jiri Prochazka. You know, his wild and unpredictable approach. Hill doesn't take unnecessary risks, which means he rarely leaves himself open for counters. On the other hand, Prochazka's flashy and chaotic style creates openings for both him and his opponents. While Prochazka's movement can be hard to predict, they also leave him exposed. This was clear in the fight against Glover Teixeira, where Glover was able to repeatedly catch him during exchanges. Hill's patient and calculating striking would allow him to capitalize on similar mistakes. But one critique I have of Hill is that he tends to keep his chin a little high in exchanges, which can make him vulnerable if somehow he manages to close the distance and lands clean. However, Hill is a very good at managing range and keeping his opponents at the end of his punches. Against someone like Prochazka, who throws loopy and wild shots, Hill's straight punches could land first and do more damage.
I thought I was going to disagree with most of what he's saying, and I started to. And now I'm just like, yep, I agree with it all.
Risky style might work against certain opponents, but against someone as sharp and as focused as Hill, it can lead into trouble. This fight has all the ingredients to be a striking chess match with some explosive moments, but Hill's fundamentals and patience might give him the edge. And I'm not saying that...
Shout out to the homies MMA Friction. I thought I was going to come in and honestly disagree. It seemed like a anti-Jamahal Hill video there as it started, honestly. It started out that way the first 3 minutes of that video. But I agreed with his prediction there toward the end that Jamahal Hill is most like, that's my favorite for this fight. I feel like Jamahal Hill is going to be more controlled and just too orthodox for the wildness that you get from a Jiri Prochazka. Though, like, Jiri Prochazka is good, you know what I'm saying? He's good. Even though he's in that first video about dives and MMA, fake fights in MMA, he's in that video. He's won a bullshit fight. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But, yeah, I'm definitely rolling with Jamahal Hill in this one. I agree with MMA Friction. You guys make sure to head over to MMA Friction. Give them a like, give them a subscribe, leave them a comment. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys think Jamahal Hill will get the job done against Jiri Prochazka? Or do you think the samurai, Jiri Prochazka, will be just too unpredictable for Jamahal Hill, the boxing style of Jamahal Hill? Let me know in the comments. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I will see you guys when I see you. I'll holla.